kind of silence that only exists in a penthouse overlooking a city of millions pressed in on Alara. It was a vacuum, expensive and sterile, broken only by the soft chime of crystal, as Liam Thorne set down his wineglass. His gaze, the color of a stormy sea, was fixed on her, and it made the simple black dress she'd spent half her paycheck on feel like a costume. "You're not eating," he observed, his voice a low baritone that vibrated through the polished oak table between them. Alara's fork hovered over a piece, seared scallop that probably cost more than her weekly grocery bill. It's incredible," she managed, forcing a smile that felt brittle. "I'm just taking it all in." This was a prank. It had to be. 48 hours ago, she was Alara Vance, overworked graphic designer, burning her tongue on cheap coffee and fielding calls from demanding clients. Now, she was sitting across from Liam Thorne, the Liam Thorne, a man whose face was on the cover of Forbes more often than not. He'd walked into her small, cluttered studio to discuss a last-minute charity gala logo, looked at her work for precisely 3 minutes, and then, with the unnerving calm of a man who always got what he wanted, asked her to dinner. She'd laughed. She'd actually laughed, thinking it was a joke. But his expression hadn't changed. It was intense, serious, and utterly bewildering. "Tell me something true, Alara," he said, leaning back in his chair. The command was soft, but it was a command nonetheless. "Something no one in this room knows. I think the waiter is an actor you hired. That I'm waiting for a camera crew to jump out. That my heart is beating so fast I'm afraid it might fail. I'm afraid of silence," she said instead, the words escaping before she could censor them. "Not noise, but true silence. It feels like waiting for something to go wrong." Liam's eyes flickered with something unreadable, a crack in his polished facade. An interesting fear for someone who lives in the heart of the city. "It's louder in my apartment. The pipes knock, my neighbors argue. It's a living sound. This." She gestured vaguely at the panoramic windows framing the glittering skyline. "This is dead quiet. It's beautiful, but it's a museum kind of quiet." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "I've never thought of it that way." He paused, his gaze drifting to the city lights. "I'm afraid of being forgotten." The admission was so stark, so vulnerable, that it stole the air from Alara's lungs. The billionaire, the titan of industry, afraid of something so profoundly human. "That's not what I expected you to say," she whispered. "What did you expect?" "I don't know. Stock market crashes. Bad press. Those are inconveniences. Being erased from someone's memory? That's a tragedy." His eyes found hers again, and the intensity was back, multiplied. "I don't intend to be forgotten by you, Alara." The rest of the dinner passed in a surreal blur. They talked about art, about her dream of having her own gallery, about his lonely childhood being shipped between boarding schools. He listened to her with a focus that was almost disconcerting, as if her every word was a piece of a puzzle he was desperately trying to solve. The initial prank theory began to waver, replaced by a dizzying, terrifying confusion. He was brilliant, charming, and yet there was a deep, melancholic undercurrent to him that felt achingly real. After dessert, a chocolate sphere that dissolved into a cloud of raspberry mist, he didn't call for his driver. Instead, he led her out onto the vast private terrace. The city sprawled beneath them, a tapestry of electric dreams, the hum of life a distant whisper up here. This view. "It's like owning the world," Alara breathed, hugging herself against the chill night air. Liam stood beside her, close enough that she could feel the warmth of his body. "It's the loneliest kingdom in the world," he replied, his voice quiet. "You can see everyone, but you can't touch any of them. You can have anything, but nothing has meaning." He turned to her, and the raw vulnerability she saw in his eyes made her breath catch. "Until now," he said, before she could process his words. He did something that shattered reality entirely. Liam Thorne, one of the wealthiest, most powerful men on the planet, went down on one knee. The world screeched to a halt. The city lights blurred into streaks of gold. Alara's mind went blank, a silent scream of static. "Alara Vance," he said, his voice unwavering, clear as the night sky. He produced a small black velvet box from his pocket. As it snapped open, a diamond caught the moonlight, not glittering, but burning with a cold, furious fire. It was obscenely large, a teardrop stone set on a simple band, and it spoke of a price tag that could fund her entire neighborhood. Marry me. It was a statement, a decree. Alara stumbled back a step, her hand flying to her mouth. The prank theory roared back, monstrous and cruel. This was the punchline. This was where he would laugh, get up, and tell her he was testing a new reality show. Her heart wasn't fluttering anymore. It was a frantic caged bird, beating itself to death against her ribs. What? The word was a choked gasp. Liam, we just met. This isn't funny. It's not meant to be funny, he said, his gaze locked on hers, terrifyingly sincere. I have spent my entire life building empires and amassing fortunes, waiting for the moment it would feel like I had arrived. It never did. Then I walked into your studio. I saw your art on the walls. I saw the light in your eyes when you talked about color theory. And I heard you laughing with your assistant. You were so alive, in a way I have never been. He took a slow breath, his knee still pressed against the cold stone of the terrace. I am a man who knows what he wants, and I want you. I don't need a courtship. I don't need to play games. I knew the moment I saw you. Say yes. Let me give you the world. Tears welled in Elara's eyes, hot and confused. This was madness. It was the most insane, impulsive, potentially disastrous proposition in the history of propositions. She looked from his impossibly earnest face to the blinding diamond, then back to his eyes. She saw no mockery there, only a desperate, profound certainty. And in that moment, staring into the stormy depths of his eyes, something shifted inside her. A wild, reckless, foolish part of her, the part that still believed in fairy tales against all odds, sparked to life. What did she have to go back to? A life of quiet desperation, of deadlines and loneliness, or this, a leap of faith into the terrifying, magnificent unknown? Her voice trembled, barely a whisper, carried away by the wind. The world became a whirlwind of impossible things. Elara's tiny apartment was traded for a suite in Liam's penthouse that was larger than her entire previous building. Her closet was filled with couture gowns that felt like wearing liquid moonlight. They were married in a private ceremony on a Grecian island a week later. The event so swift and secret it felt like a dream. Liam was attentive, generous, and yet distant. He was a curator of a perfect life. She was his most prized acquisition. He loved her art, covering the cold, modern walls of their home with her vibrant, emotional paintings. They breathed life into this place, he'd say, tracing the line of a painted blossom. But he never asked what they meant. He loved her voice, but he only seemed to listen to the sound of it, not the words. He was building a beautiful cage, and she was the beautiful bird inside it. 3 months in. The loneliness of the penthouse began to echo the silence she'd feared on their first date. Liam was often gone, handling urgent business, and when he was home, he was a fortress. He would hold her, kiss her, but his eyes were always looking at something just over her shoulder. Some ghost she couldn't see. The first crack appeared on a rainy Tuesday. She was in his private study, a place he'd asked her to avoid, looking for a book to combat the silence. Her fingers trailed across the polished mahogany of his desk and brushed against a hidden latch. A small, thin drawer slid open silently. Inside, nestled on a bed of black velvet, was not a business document, but a worn, faded photograph. It was of a woman. She had Elara's same cascade of chestnut hair, the same wide hazel eyes, the same delicate curve of her smile. It was like looking into a slightly distorted mirror. A cold knot tightened in Elara's stomach. She flipped the photo over. On the back, in an elegant, familiar script, was written, "My Isabella. Forever." The world tilted. The expensive perfume in the air, the taste of the gourmet meal she'd just eaten, it all turned to ash. She stumbled back, the photo falling from her numb fingers. Isabella. The name echoed in the hollowed-out chamber of her mind. The pieces, the impossible pieces, began to click into a horrifying picture. The whirlwind courtship. The immediate proposal. The way he looked at her, through her. Asterisk, she wasn't a Lara. She was a replacement. A stand-in. Asterisk, when Liam returned that evening, she was waiting for him in the living room, the photograph held in her shaking hand. The storm she saw gathering in his eyes confirmed everything. Asterisk, who is she? Alara's voice was raw. Asterisk, Liam's shoulders slumped. The powerful billionaire vanished, leaving behind a haunted, broken man. He walked to the bar and poured a whiskey, his movements slow and heavy. Asterisk, her name was Isabella, he said, his back to her. We grew up together. She was everything. The light, the music. She saw me, not the name, not the fortune. He took a long drink. We were to be married. A week before the wedding, a car accident. She was gone. Asterisk, Alara listened, her heart cracking with every word. It was a tragedy far more real and painful than any she could have imagined. Asterisk, I died that day too, he whispered, finally turning to face her. Tears glistened in his stormy eyes. For 10 years, I've been a ghost. I built all of this. He gestured around the penthouse, trying to fill the void. Nothing worked. Then I saw you across the gallery at a charity event I was forced to attend. It was like seeing a miracle. A second chance. Asterisk, so you found me. You commissioned that logo just to get to me, she stated. The truth, a bitter pill. Asterisk, yes. There was no apology in his voice, only a stark, terrible honesty. When I saw you up close, it was even more uncanny. Your voice, your laugh. It was her, but different. Softer. I couldn't let you go. I knew it was irrational. I knew it was madness. But for the first time in a decade, I felt something other than pain. I felt hope. Asterisk, you bought me, Alara said, the words dripping with venom. You saw a woman who looked like your dead fiancé, and you decided to acquire her. I'm not a person to you. I'm a portrait you commissioned to hang over the crack in your heart. Asterisk, no? Ilara, it started that way, I won't lie to you. But it changed. It's you. It's your spirit, your fire, the way you see the world. I fell in love with you. Asterisk, don't. She screamed, the sound tearing from her throat. Don't you dare say that to me. You don't love me. You love a ghost. Every time you looked at me, you were seeing her. Every time you kissed me, you were wishing I was her. Asterisk, she threw the photograph at him. It fluttered to the floor between them, a silent, damning witness. Asterisk, I won't be your ghost, she whispered, her body trembling with a pain so profound it felt physical. I won't live the rest of my life in another woman's shadow. Asterisk, she turned and ran. Out of the beautiful cage, past the priceless art that was now just a monument to his grief, and out into the rain-swept night. She left the diamond, the dresses, the penthouse. She left it all. Asterisk, she rented a small studio, using the last of her own savings. She painted furiously, her canvases exploding with the anguish and betrayal she felt. Months passed. The world moved on. She heard snippets about him, a new merger, a philanthropic award, but she built a wall around her heart. Asterisk, then, a package arrived. No return address, but the stationery was thick, expensive. With a sinking heart, she opened it. It was a deed to a beautiful, sun-drenched building in the Arts District. The deed was in her name, and tucked into the fold was a note written in his unmistakable hand. Alara, this is not an apology. An apology is too small a thing for the wrong I did you. This is a restitution. You spoke of a gallery of your own. Here it is. It is yours, free and clear. No strings. Asterisk, you were right. I was in love with a ghost. But you were wrong about one thing. In trying to resurrect her, I found you. And in losing you, I have learned the true meaning of loss. Losing her was a tragedy. Losing you is a choice I made, and it is my eternal punishment. Asterisk, I will not bother you again. Be brilliant. Be alive. Liam, tears streamed down her face, hot and cleansing. There is no manipulation here, no grand gesture to win her back. It was an acknowledgement, a letting go. Asterisk, a year to the day after she'd run from the penthouse, her gallery opened to critical acclaim. It was a roaring success, filled with her art, her soul. She was standing before her favorite piece, a swirling storm of dark blue and silver, titled The Silence After. She felt a presence behind her. Asterisk, she knew who it was before she turned. The air always changed when he entered a room. Asterisk, Liam stood a few feet away. Older, wearier, his hands shoved into the pockets of his coat. He looked at the painting, then at her. Asterisk, it's you, he said softly. All this time I thought it was her likeness I loved. But it wasn't. It was the life in you. The life she had that you have. I was just too blind and broken to see it. Asterisk, Elara's heart hammered against her ribs. The old hurt warred with a strange, fragile hope. Asterisk, why are you here, Liam? Asterisk, he took a step closer, his eyes, those stormy, heartbreaking eyes, finally seeing only her. Asterisk, I'm here to ask for a first date, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. A real one. No penthouse. No diamonds. Just coffee. With you, Elara Vance. Asterisk, he didn't kneel. He didn't presume. He just stood there, a billionaire stripped bare, offering her nothing but his shattered, hopeful heart. Asterisk, and for the first time, looking at the man, not the ghost, not the fantasy. Elara felt the museum quiet in her soul finally break, replaced by the living, breathing, unpredictable sound of a new beginning. Asterisk, she took a slow, shaky breath and a genuine, tentative smile touched her lips. Asterisk, coffee sounds perfect.